Awesome. Окей, я пошла. Hello everyone. Today is Sunday, August 30th. And we are here for CosmoEnergy Circle number 16. And I hope that you're having a good time this Sunday, even though probably if you're in Southern California or Northern California, the air is really smoky for a week. And it's been a little bit, not even a little bit, it was really frustrating for all of us. But at the same time, it's definitely a time of comprehension of what exactly we are doing here and why we have certain consequences of our actions together when we are in disagreement, when we are in imbalance with the earth. Я не могу видеть свой Zoom. Okay. So, and today I would love us to go through a certain material that will be particularly dedicated to the levels of consciousness, and we will be talking about some previous topics that we covered on the previous classes, of CosmoEnergy classes. And I remind you that CosmoEnergy is the science of healing, which is based on the ancient technologies that are literally technologies that helping people to live in harmony and abundance with the earth, with the planetary intelligences, with the galactic and universal intelligences, and as well as achieve the highest states of consciousness, because basically the channels of CosmoEnergy are the portals to the different types of intelligences, and as well as the highest states of consciousness. And using the states of consciousness, we are getting to physical well-being and emotional well-being and distressing, and we are also opening some kind of extraordinary abilities that are not seeming any longer something magical or impossible at the times where we live, you and I, we live consciously or unconsciously, anyways, collectively together. So I want to cover several topics today, and the last time we were talking about CosmoEnergy and the cosmic hierarchy and principles of creation, and as well as the differences between densities and dimensions. We were talking about the programming language of 4D reality, and this is a free thought forming. And I was given sharing the techniques how to give up on the old directive thought formation, how to become a free conscious creator. And I was asked by you, and thank you very much for your interest, about what are the other types of consciousness in other densities. And today we will be talking about the consciousness of type of 4 4th, 5th, 7th, 6th, 7th, and 8th densities. And basically, if we are talking about our universe, these civilizations that are 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, but 8th is already not kind of civilization, it's more an intelligence, they are taking an active part into formation of our reality, or we call it illusion in the different teachings. We call it an illusion. And so why I wanted to explain you the concept of the dream of the illusion. Do you remember the movie Inception? You remember the dream within a dream within a dream within a dream. So when one of the previous circles we were talking about the 7 cosmoses, and that are representing the ray of creation. And they are those densities of the 7 cosmoses, one within another, within another, within another. Like Russian dolls, like an onion. And in this ray of creation, that is the manifestation of a physical universe. And we call it also the architect. The architect is the spiritual intelligence. It's a spirit, the intelligence that is creating the ray of creation, and it is kind of below or around the very center, which is absolute awareness and the light of consciousness. We will not go very deep here, but it's kind of the first intelligence that is manifesting the universes, and there are many universes in creation, and the architect is the one who is responsible for the creation. And the ray of creation is represented by creators, co-creators, civilizations, teacher system, hierarchy of time, karmic council, galactic council, and some other local and planetary types of intelligences. And all of them, everything is interconnected by a torsion field. Earlier, and everything is interconnected the way that, as you remember the movie Butterfly Effect. So whatever you think, you say, you manifest, you act, you feel, this all reflects on the other universes, not only in our galaxy, but just in entire creation. So because of the torsion field, which is the global informational network of the entire universe, and it's like the mother, which is holding the space of all the manifested creation. And why we are discussing these topics on the CosmoEnergy circles, it is because the CosmoEnergy channels are actually not only something that you can use in everyday life for healing your body or consciousness or emotional states, but also those channels, the CosmoEnergy channels, are portals. They are gateways to the different types of consciousness, into the different levels, to the different intelligences, so we can communicate with them. So let's go back a little bit to the material that we were going through in the previous circles, and I want to mention that in this array of creation, the higher creators of the hierarchy of the manifested universe, they create laws according to which this reality/illusion develops and changes as consciousness of beings evolves. And they don't care about the details, right? They just create the mechanisms, like if then, like programs, let's say, and then there is a certain flow, which depends on the free will of each soul. And co-creators, they create types of spaces and interactions of the souls. Plus they take care of formation of millions of different types of spaces. And as you know, here in 3D, because there is certain confusion, because we are in the third density and in third dimension. So here, I'm talking about the density, okay? So here in the third density, we are capable and able to observe only one type of space. Imagine there are millions of different spaces where the time flows differently, where the perception of the space and the energy exchange is completely different, and including entire worlds where everything just like the way you cannot imagine, because it's very doesn't feel organic to us as a human beings. So thanks to co-creators, the creators are able to energetically maintain these spaces that they created by the laws. And to give a little bit more perspective on this, imagine yourself to be in a corridor with the millions of doors. And behind each door is the space of a new world, with a new experience, with the new levels of consciousness, and with new energy exchange, with new different perceptions of whatever you can imagine or cannot. And we are only in this one of the doors, and depending on what experience we choose. Because if we take off the component of time, which is also a sensation, then there is a choice, and the absolute is given us as its particles the choice of having an experience we want. But CosmoEnergy channels can be used as portals to each door, to all these different worlds, with the different laws, space, and type of energy exchange. And that's why the experience of the people who are in CosmoEnergy or practicing CosmoEnergy, even if you are the one who is receiving, not necessarily who is given, it can be really profound. And I've been working with many people who have been experiencing very almost psychedelic experiences with CosmoEnergy channels, and I love these experiences, not because of I love to trip, not because of this, just because it really expands the awareness and the possibilities when we don't use our mind system, when we don't overuse it. Then it becomes clear that there is so much more to feel and sense and know, and it's kind of inconceivable. So today I would like to talk about the types of civilizations that are present at least in our universe, because you know there is a packages of universes, and as you're in the middle of this corridor with the millions doors, then you basically just switch in between one or another. And so the basic civilizations of the second, third, and early fourth density experience and have experience and comprehension on the initial levels of choice and perception. What it means is, it means that we are actually here just to be the basic civilization. It means that we are still living in black and white, in good and bad, and all that conceptions that are given us to learn to make a choice and make our perception more firm, to make sure that we're able to make a confident choice and make sure that we actually are responsible for this choice. The civilizations of the level 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th are coordinating the system of consciousness for less developed species like you and I. And Also for those who are, so to speak, metaphysically lower in this hierarchy, are responsible to co-create perception mechanism of a dream or illusion for those who are in a lower density. What it means? It means that we cannot wake up from this dream and go to the next fourth level until we are completely disentangled, disassociated from this level of virtual reality game. And last time we were talking about how this virtual reality game is actually formed, and that the simulation, it seems so real because we have a certain sensors, and there are only 5 except the intuition, which is a 6th sense that not too many people using instead or prefer to just a regular logical thinking. So the virtual reality game, the game in here is that as soon as we learn to make a conscious choice and actually select the free thought formation, independent free thought forms, then we are proving that we are capable to create our own reality. So far, we are given the perception of a certain reality. This is a simulation, but we are becoming conscious. We passing the levels, so from 3 to 4th, and so on, and the trick here is finally what means the free thought formation. It means that you're finally not getting really satisfied with the codes of creation that you're able to contemplate and observe, and then you're starting to invent your own programming language, and then you are capable and certified creator of the conscious creator. So independent free thought formation together with self-inquiry, which can be really also helpful, plus practice of CosmoEnergy channels is the excellent basis for disidentification, disassociation with the directive and egregorial thought forms. We briefly touched the topics. I will briefly now touch the topic about the directive and egregorial thought forms. This is something that we explored before very deeply on the previous circles. So the directive and egregorial thought forms, they're basically the same, because for our human evolution, the civilizations that taking care of the perception of us, of the space, they're creating the directive scenario where we can learn how to make a basic choice. And egregors, there are certain psychic energetical entities that are holding you tight within a certain paradigms of your life that you're tightly attached to, such as family, medicine, education, career, religion, state, and there are much more, like sport club, any community more than 2 people, they're forming an egregor, and egregors are basically sharing with you, giving you a power to proceed with to succeed in life based on the directive scenario, and they take your psychic power and offering you their own thought forms. So you don't realize and don't recognize them, but this is what you need to dissociate to jump onto the 4th level. And there are so many actually locations and stations of consciousness at each level, because we are saying from 3 to 4D, but there is so much more than just 3 and 4D, because for example, we could say that 3.1 or 3.2 and 3.3, this is basic needs that needs to be satisfied, like territory, basic safety needs and procreation, and then the power, expression of power, not necessarily mindfully expressed power, and then 3-4, 3-5, 3-6, and 3-7 is more for the people can be admitted to a people who are getting higher and higher in hierarchy of third dimensional consciousness development and third density, I would say, and third dimension, because we also have 3 dimensions and 3 densities in here. So that's why this transition in between 3 and 4D can last lifetimes, and it's not necessarily that you just got born in 3D and all you know is going to your work, and you just literally recently celebrated 40th anniversary of going to the same work, and you don't even care about any other new things. This is just like who you are and who you learn to be. This is a perfect experience for many, but it's a beginning of 3D. And there is nothing bad to be in the beginning or in the middle or at the end of 3D. There are certain paths and certain challenges and certain beauty in this. But what about 4D? This is more like when we're starting to sense with our perception mechanisms a little bit more. Not just a little bit, but we we're beginning to open up our consciousness to perception of not just believing our intuition and following it, but really the 4th floor of consciousness. We learn to create the reality of the world we live in with the help of free thought forms again. And there is also many stages of the 4th density, and each density, we will not go back to this again, so you got the idea. And the 4th level, level of consciousness, we begin to unite in collective clusters and create independent spaces within its own planetary systems, within our own planetary systems. And the consciousness of the 6th level, the civilizational consciousness becomes collective. What it means that the telescope of a higher self is going to a point, a dot, right? So it was big and now it's like all here in a different perspective. This means that the multidimensional soul has returned to the awareness of its unity, and it also becomes collective. Therefore, with this awareness, 6 density civilizations are trusted to create the space for perception, for developing souls of basic civilizations or other star systems. What about the 7th density consciousness? It is actually the end of civilization. At the level of 6th and 7th density, civilizations have a collective consciousness and merge with each other and developing into one collective conscious essence of intelligence, let's say. And this is kind of a unified consciousness that begins to curate the lower densities and send signals of the individual consciousness of the basic civilizations like ours. What is happening on the 8th level, 8th floor or density of this multidimensional cake? So on the 8th density, contacts with the lower level civilizations almost stop. And what begins is the interaction directly with the creator's intelligence, and plugging into the universal consciousness. And also the minds, the intelligences of the 7 densities coordinate and construct the spaces and scenario for the universal level together with the co-creators and lower density for lower densities. And they also build in timelines and historical cycles and periods that are necessary for the evolutionary experience to occur for the souls in these universes. So in this quantum ascension process that I just explained to you, this is, as you see, everything only depends and differs in your perception. Whether at some of the levels and densities, we simply don't have bodies because there is no needs of the body. And all of this is happening simultaneously and nowhere else than within consciousness inside of you. Because if we will remove again the essence of time, in which is an invention of the architect to manifest its creation, we will find out that everything is already there, already awakened, already whole and forever free in peace and love. So all these floors, this is just a tiny quantum shifts of perception of consciousness that is happening, not on the left, not on the right, not above, nowhere else, not just in the cosmos, but even though the cosmonauts have a very different perception of time when they travel in the spaceships, but it's all happening here, right? So let's switch to a different scale for a moment. I want to talk about the galactic, stellar, and planetary system because every one of them has its own division and collective soul. And we and Gaia are a single organism, and ascension of consciousness is the collective process. And as you know, that our planetary intelligence, the Gaia, the planet Earth, is in the last 4.5 billion years cycle. Not last, I mean this cycle is lasting for 4.5 billion years. And it went through 4 stages of development, of evolutionary development, and now it is transitioning to the 5th. Same as humanity. By the way, if we are the 5th race, it doesn't mean that we are all transitioned to 5D. It is a misconception, my dears. Not hear that. Remember, we all have to do it collectively, all together. That's why I pick up the topic, bring up the topic about us being a collective intelligence together with the Gaia, because nothing is happening apart. We are civilizationally entangled with our planetary mind. So when we will go from one density to another and we'll go to 5D, it will happen all together. And only then the experiment can be marked as completed, as successfully completed. So about the 5th race and our new possibilities. We know that there are several stories about how various civilizations from other star systems participated in the development of human race, right? We know about Orion, Sirius, Andromeda, Pleiades, Lyrians, Sectorians, and many others. And we know about that the Egyptian pharaohs were semi-extraterrestrials. And we know that Greek and other gods in other cosmologies mixed with the humans in a sexual intercourse. And we know that there were some gene experiments have been going on the human species from different Sumerian scriptures and some other, in Mayan and Incas and Aztecs. And of course, because we have a certain range of duality here, so everything can be, quote unquote, can be good and bad. So of course there are also negative interpretations of all these interactions, but in fact, over time, the consciousness of a human species has progressed a lot, and it's hard to deny, right? So, and now, despite the price we collectively pay, meaning this chaotic, reckless, and pure duality choices of directive programming, humanity, in fact, is definitely experiencing a new emergence. And it is very tangible for people who are getting into new types of sensations and perceptions and just perception of the world and themselves and communication and everything else that is present in the space. And we are finally beginning to digest the essence of a universal wisdom and tap into the source beyond black and white boundaries. And the reason is that at this age of Aquarius, human consciousness has become sufficiently strong to the point that there are many channelers, sorcerers, teachers who are able to directly accept, receive the messages, insights, and revelations of intelligences and civilizations. And one of them sitting in front of you, and that is important, is that the people no longer afraid of being burned on a stake of the Inquisition for passing the knowledge and giving healing to those who need it, who crave it, who desire it, who is ready for it. And my personal experience in practicing CosmoEnergy channels has brought me into a content of contacting with the certain fourth, fifth, and fifth density civilizations, some of the planetary spirits and the galactic collective souls. And it was extremely useful because no book, no person, neither teachings could shed really enough light on the questions of the multidimensional nature of the soul and the levels of consciousness in the different densities, as well as about cosmology, healing, and literally anything else. So I want to emphasize that all of it, happened thanks to the practice of CosmoEnergy, for me personally, and this series of initiations that I went through over the past 4 years. Of course, I had to go through several steps, and the first stage, and this is the basic course of initiations, is so-called a Buddhist healing block. And this is what I want to share with you. At this level, the energy sensorics opens up, as well as the ability to conduct the healing energies of the cosmos for yourself and others. And when I started practicing CosmoEnergy on myself and my friends, at first I was not clear whether it was working or not, and because I really wanted to see the results as soon as possible, it didn't really happen, or I was not sensitive enough to see it. So I had to let go all the expectations and just trust the process, the energy, and my teacher. You know that many aha and awakening moments are happening exactly when you let go the results and not depending on anything happening. You're just like flowing in and surrendering through the experience and experience itself. But I should say that at the beginning, I worked on the first few basic channels of the Buddhist healing block for about a month. Every day it took me 30 to 40 minutes. That is after theory and initiation. And I practiced each one separately and several channels together on myself. And this was a great discovery for me because before I had no clear idea that vibrationally you can actually feel different frequencies and switch between states of consciousness. And between vibrational states, I literally began to feel my energy frame being rebuilt. Sometimes I wasn't sure if I was going to walk through a doorway of my own house because I felt like my body of light was the size of a whole house. But at the same time, there was a few improvements, such as I lost some extra pounds of weight and my sleep. I'm a very light sleeper, was completely restored and improved. And my meditations became much deeper. My mind became much more calm and stable. And it felt like I found myself, and I got into myself, into my own body for the first time in my life. I felt so comfortable, and my thoughts were not reckless. So I really realized that is it. And this is how my path in cosmic energy began. But also these strange things started to happen. I began to see energy fields of other people. And also, for some reason, there was a clear knowing and clear feeling of what was happening with the people that I knew. So before, it was not really clear what to do with these gifts. So it was kind of scary and weird and shaky. And I just went to my friends' houses and started telling them what was happening in their lives, what was happening in their thinking processes. And I scared away those people, you know, many people actually. My friends who used to be friends of mine, who were not ready to hear everything about themselves, that they turned a blind eye to. For example, the impact of toxic relationships or beliefs in their lives. So the CosmoEnergy process, when you get into initiation as well as a practice, it shows you the bottom line, which needs to be eliminated. You cannot any longer to lie yourself about anything. And you can much clearly can see people, not just people's energy, but this sensation and vision comes over times. But just like you can detect people and detect with the time you can detect what is wrong even on a physical level, not necessarily just like you will be able to see. And this is what happened to me. And over time I figured how to use the channels of energetical channels for the most effective results. And it turned out that the healing work can be carried out not only in the relationship to organs, system, and chronic diseases, but what is most interesting, when working with the Healy, I've noticed many times I actually saw that within many cases in the past few years that I've been working with CosmoEnergy channels, there is a side effect, a very serious one. And what it does, the side effect is a rewire of consciousness. Not only a healee, but also for a healer. And even cases with the most stubborn atheists and non-believers, within a few sessions, their family members reached out, would come to me and ask me, what did I do to those people? Because they changed, they become a different people, and in a good way, because the person before and after CosmoEnergy session is almost two different people, in a good sense again, because there is more clarity, more vitality, more kindness, more love, more mental clarity, and there is a certain inner peace. So the light body is getting restructured, and it is the side effect is that the consciousness getting purified and getting up to the next level. And it is inevitable. I notice it in 100% of cases. And even the most skeptical skeptics start to assume that there is some invisible force awakening within them. And that results in a previously unknown sense of inspiration and vitality, even for the people who are like after 70. I'm not just talking about people in their 30s, 50s, and 60s who are more or less can tap back into this energy of inspiration and sensation of life, of a fullness and completeness, but also for the older people, they're getting back to the state of, oh, life, you know? So today, I want to announce a CosmoEnergy Healing Course, which I will be giving online and 5 Saturdays of October, and they're gonna start in October 3, and every Saturday of October we will spend an hour and a half for developing new skills that are very useful in this lifetime, especially for those who feel called to have some healing skills and also expand their consciousness. And this course is for those who really wants to develop energy sensitivity and break old bad habits, food or alcohol or even thinking habits, and learn to increase your own energy level and get rid of some chronic diseases, chronic fatigue, and get rid of depression, and bunch of your limiting beliefs will be evaporated, I promise you. And I will teach you also basic healing techniques and safety rules. And if you're interested in a healing, or you're already a healer or a therapist of any kind, or MD, or you just feel drawn to a spiritual evolution and the discovery of new abilities, you want to learn and also if you want to learn the most ancient techniques for renewing energy and healing physical imperfections, if you want to quickly stop any signs of diseases and the physical and on the mental and physical plane, and also learn to help your friends and loved ones to break through the negative and painful emotional states, then definitely I do recommend that you take in this course. This is the time when knowledge has become available and you can use it to your advantage for your evolution and the unfolding of the consciousness of the Absolute Creator. So again, we will be having 5 classes and initiations. And each Saturday in October, starting from October 3, we will be having an hour and a half for theory and practice. And I will teach you about the main qualities and implications of a CosmoEnergy channels. We will travel, we will practice together, and I will share with you the sequence of actions of how to perform a session, and you will have these materials in electronically, and if you want you can print them out to hold in front of you all the time. And there will be some do's and don'ts, which will be very important, and it will be hows and whats. And we will have a workshop space where you will consolidate your knowledge and share your impressions and experience with the other participants on Zoom. And after the course, for the next 2 months, we will have a bi-weekly group call where you will receive an additional tips and hints and answers to your questions about your practice. And this CosmoEnergy Healing Course, it is literally a new quantum level of your personal transformational journey. And this is how it was for me, and this is how it was for million people who got initiated into the CosmoEnergy. And it's not that widely available in US, but this teaching have been brought and wrapped in the right cover in 1950s in Russia. And I know some of you have concerns about the online initiation. And this is what I'm going to tell you. My initial initiations to the Buddhist blog and some other higher blogs have been happening online. And only 6 months after I came to Russia and met my teacher. Also, 90% of the clients that I work with are online and by phone, because they're in US, in Europe, in Russia, in India, in Indonesia. And energy is really transmitted at a distance by means of mental images, and any experienced healer and the energy worker will tell you this. So you don't have to worry about any of this. In fact, you don't even need to know a person personally to heal them. And you will understand this with your experience, I'm very sure. So, so entering the age of Aquarius, you will already have a valuable gift that you can share with others. This CosmoEnergy course that I'm offering to you, it will open up the changes that you're going to happen, that you're going through, and this is what's going to happen for you, and you will clear up all the energy fields, and also your physical field, and your energy body, and your light body, and your physical body, in order to go through this transition between the evolutionary stages of consciously more easily. And if you will be able to accept the gift of your divinity and get rid of all programs and begin to ascend to a higher realms, staying in your own body. Isn't it a gift? In my opinion, it is absolutely a gift. And this is the way I pursue my life, and I am welcoming you to join me on this journey. And this is the way which is also very rewarding. You know that the energy exchange of how you're giving and what you're receiving is basically how we evolutionize. And you will be able to give more and start receiving more. And it has nothing to do with the ego. It is about love and integrity and compassion, about sincerity, honesty, and mutual assistance. And again, October 3 to October 31st, each Sunday, each Saturday, I will be with you on a call on this online video course, CosmoEnergy Buddhist blog. And if you're interested, please reach out to me to email info@evesoboleva.com or to Facebook Messenger, and ask any questions and offer any concerns, or I'm here for you. And I'm open for any questions right now, if you have any. Okay. What happens to a higher densities when each soul is creating their own reality? I don't understand the question completely. Each soul are becoming a collective soul on the higher densities. So nothing is happening to them. They're merging together, and they become collective dreamers. And then the dream in a dream of a dream, and the lower the density is, that they are assist us in being able to perceive a certain dream that they dream in for us. Nothing happens to the particular or each soul, because they merge together, they become unified, they become collective. And this is something that you and I, at some point, we will all go through. We will be collective souls. In fact, we are, because at the 6th level, we all will reach our collective unified soul, and our higher self as a telescope will merge from the multi-D scale to the perspective of like here, one. So all the particles that got stuck in different timelines in the doors of the corridor of consciousness will be back to the core, right? So, and you know, the Absolute is spreading himself to an individual ego. which is individual souls, and reaching the 6th level, all the souls becoming collective. Your father, mother, and everybody you could know and you couldn't know, and you're not even guessing that you might know. We're all becoming in one soul. So nothing is happening to it when we are dreaming the reality for the lower basic civilizations reaching the state of consciousness of 60. How the energy of love shared between densities. It's a great question. How's the energy of love is shared in third density? What is the way for you to share your love? For this question, maybe it makes sense to close your eyes right away and trying to express your love to loved ones or your partners, or to the group of people or community, or the Mother Earth, or your guides, or your angels, or your gods, or your aliens, or whatever, who you consider lovable, to try to express your love without wording it out, having your eyes closed to them right now. So as you do this, you don't necessarily need to say anything. It's beyond words, right? So the simplest way to feel love and to share love is to mean, to sense it, and then direct it to something or somebody or everything. It is very simple, right? We don't need a language to speak it, because the love is universal language. It's basically torsion-filled awareness, love. It's all synonymous. They're all synonymous. So there is no any specific ways to express love in a higher dimensions, densities as well. So shared love, it's more like as a thought, as a like a pure transparency. There is no boundaries between love. It's not conditional. I love you because of that. There is just the energy exchange. I love you because this is my nature. And the higher the densities are, the more clear it becomes that this is the nature. And even those civilizations that are creating the directive scenario for our development, they're doing it out of love. And there is many sources that trying to compromise this information and to scare people and to say whatever. That actually the gesture of love, and this is the gesture of naturally flowing evolution. So everything is done out of love, for love, and with love. I hope I answered the question. What happens after 3D death? I love this question. There are two things. One of them I experienced myself, and I got into coma in January 2016. But I think I just got to the first gateway where I still had my sensation of self, my awareness of self, but it was not physical anymore. But it was a sensation, well, my astral body, my causal body, my soul body, my mental body, everything has been still there. What's been missing is a physical body. So first of all, what happens is that right after you died, you stop feeling pain. And you're free of all your chores, right? So you don't need to go to work. You don't obligated to feed your kids anymore. You don't need to pay for somebody to do something. You don't need to pay rent. You don't need to pay tax. You don't need to pay, etc. Right? So it's a relief, first of all. for most of the people, if we die in the way, like in a preferred way, meaning that nobody is screaming, nobody is messing up with us, and nobody is saying, oh, please come back, I will not live without. It's really confusing when somebody is really messing up for this such a sacred moment when the soul is transitioning from 3D to home, to that room with the millions doors around it. This is where we sit in between incarnations and think, oh, which door do I want to go next? And I would say what happened next, then we lose the body of desire, the body, the astral body. And all these scenes of hell that are described in various sources, they are actually the representation of suffering, because if you're attached in your life to some physical things like food and any kind of pleasures that you used to do with your body, then for some of those people who didn't detach of that, you can really love making love, or you can really love good food or good wine or whatever. But if you're attached to that, then you will be kind of stuck for some amount of quantum time, let's put it this way, when you're releasing your astral body, because you want to keep doing this, but you don't have your body. So there is nothing to enjoy it with. So the next stage that you're going through is to the level of causality. It's kind of where the karmic council sitting around, I'm joking, and giving you an exam of what did you do and what you didn't. Actually, this exam is happening for you like a film when you're about to say last goodbye. So what happened to me personally, I went to the state where in the milliseconds, right before everything just stopped, and I was being able to see myself from above. I saw the paramedics, I saw my startup team, I saw myself on the bed in a hotel room. So right before that, what happened, I saw all my life, when they countdown timer, in the milliseconds, like instantaneously, everything what happened, all the opportunities that I used, all the opportunities that I didn't, when I could say something and I didn't, when I did say something, and what everything, the consequences from in a very, very fine details until the moment I was born. And a little bit, as far as I remember now, a little bit even before my first breath coming out of mother womb. So this is happening for you to reveal what is done and how much the soul have completed its tasks it wants and needs to develop itself in this particular lifetime. There is no any judge, there is no any angry God, or nobody is torturing you because you didn't do or did something. It's like a game. You just got to back from a certain level. There is no pain. There is no. You don't feel. I didn't feel any, like, sadness or sorriness about that something happened or didn't happen to me. It was like, okay, it is. Just like no conceptions or good or bads at all. So everything that has been shown to me. This is the causality level, that the karmic level, and I had a very clear sensation that nobody is going to pursue and hit me next lifetime because I have done something wrong in this lifetime. I know it's controversial to the teachings, basic teachings of karma and Hindu and Vedanta tradition and some others, but at the same time, also in a later context with other minds and actually the karmic council and some others, other civilizations and my higher self, I was given the answer that karma, it's not that you getting punished for something, but it is the challenges that you want to meet in this certain lifetime to get to grow higher. And it's kind of makes sense, right? So it's not, some things are happening to you not because you've been punished, because you caused a reason for that, but just because this is what your soul wanted to experience. And nobody is guilty on that. So and from here, the victim and predator states stop making any sense. And when I got back to life, I completely dissolved this game that still kind of used to be in predators victims state. I never did feel a victim. But I still was able to see some certain patterns that I used to implement on my own, in my own experience, maybe from a childhood or whoever know from where else. So the next level after causality is 3 mental planes, or the plane of the soul and the plane of the spirit. And this is where all the mental constructions that you have been going with and through, all the impressions are getting to a dissolution. And depends on if you were able to flex your brain and make your belief system very flexible. There is nothing to hold on. It is you're getting to dissolution of this mental experience easily. But what is also going on here, the experience that you hold in your mental constructions, especially if you're a free thinker, it is going to certain library that is called in several different sources the Akashic records, right? So whatever you've been able to create in you, because if you get going just from a similar experience from life to life and your experience is very similar to other people, then it's kind of boring. So this experience is not very appreciated by souls as well as a collective soul, because what's new about this? So it doesn't mean that you have to struggle and prove that you're very unique and extraordinary and do or not do things. It totally depends on you. But it just makes you think that it really makes sense to think beyond the rules, to think beyond, I don't mean the laws. I mean beyond the limitation, beyond the just logics. And as we have been when we were studying in a primary school, we have been taught certain things. We were taught that this is how it should be. This is the history. This is the only things to comprehend on, and this is laws, and it's fundamental. But for now, as you're growing up and you're feeling self-confidence to step into the unknown areas, you know better that you now not taking all the information as the pure gold, you know, that you can choose between this and this source of information, and you can compare and think, no, doesn't resonate. In the primary school, you don't think what resonates, what doesn't. That's why we have been embedded into the realization of equality and egregors and certain equal, similar thought forms. So what I'm saying, after death, your mental plane, when you go through dissolution of mental plane, the experience that you extracted from this lifetime is the most valuable. And if it's new and if it's interesting, then your soul is more satisfied, because it also brings the experience for the absolute and for the collective. And the other plane that I kind of skipped, I don't know how that happened. It's the level of the soul, and this is the level when you're going through you're kind of meeting all your soul family. All the soul family, and you may see the astral projections of people who you really loved, and they will be not looking very old. I don't know how. So maybe this, the brain or the neural system is saving the best possible pictures of those people who you knew and loved in the best possible configurations, let's put it this way, and stores it for you. So it is basically, so you reunite and in love with those family, soul family that you consider your soul family throughout this lifetime. And maybe sometimes, I don't know, it was my experience. What else is that then you give away all this, what you wrapped around your essence, the soul, for this lifetime, and you're going to pick the next one, right? So you dissolve all the levels from astral, the body of desire, and the body of senses, and the body of mental body, and everything, and then you're becoming back your essence, purified. And what's interesting, that the people that used to have beliefs about the death, and they will be tortured in a hell, they spend a lot of time and gotten stuck in astral dimensions, and it's kind of torturous, because our beliefs really depends on what's going on with us, and this is a hype. This is continuously happening, not only in this lifetime, but also after the death. There is a way, which is written down in a Tibetan book of the death, and as well as a Thoth book, Hermetic books, what is the right way to die. And there is a way how to prepare to death, and how to open up mentally and energetically your body, so your soul is not suffering through all these levels for too long, on your soul family already waiting for you. Yeah, and actually using CosmoEnergy channels, I was able to reach some of these places in consciousness, to revisit them, those places that I was able to reach through my near-to-death experience back in 2016. And it's very interesting, because I can go back there using certain CosmoEnergy channels and just see more details, sense more things, because back then I was not ready to really comprehend what was that. And it was one of the biggest gifts, to go through the death in a physical body. Yeah. All right, thank you so much for your questions. I will be posting this class on YouTube channel Eve Soboleva, and we have a CosmoEnergy group on Facebook. About the course, please reach out to info@evesoboleva.com, as well as Facebook messages works perfectly fine. And all the details, all questions will be published on my website. And if you need any additional information, please reach out. I wish you a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I love you. Namaste. Fuck.
Нет, это не нужно. Я тоже подумал сначала, так сказать, я подумал, а зачем, если мы пишем на камеру?